So it's no secret that YouTubers seem to have better recoil control on weapons. They seem to have no recoil whatsoever, and they just seem to have guns that shoot absolutely straight. And then you hop on, you try the same things, and it doesn't work out in your favor. Well, guys, I'm here to tell you there's actually a few things that you should be doing in this game to make your aim a lot better. But not only that, once you hear these things, you're gonna be like, well, Dan, that's obvious, but it's stuff that you tend to forget about a lot. So we're gonna get into this. I want to show you guys something here right now. Okay, so right now I'm playing on 115 field of view. This is really important. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna go into my graphics and we're gonna lower that down to like an 80. We're gonna drastically lower it just to show you guys. All right, see how close that door seems to me, but that doesn't matter. I want to shoot at this door now, and I'm not going to really control my recoil, but just look at how high that recoil looks. It looks like there's a lot of visual recoil. You guys can see the gun pattern there. And now we're going to move over to the next door, except this time what we're going to do is we're going to go back into graphics and we're going to put it up to a higher FOV, which I like to play at a 115. And then we're going to shoot the exact same shots. We're not going to control the gun much, but the recoil already looks a lot easier. It looks like it's on bouncing up all over the place, but as you guys can see, those recoil patterns are pretty much the same. That right there is pretty equal to this, except for where I went a little left there. This one actually looks worse. This one, it's pretty much the same, except when I was shooting here on a lower field of view, the gun looked like it was bouncing everywhere. On a higher field of view, the gun looks like it's shooting pretty straight. It doesn't look like there's much recoil to it whatsoever. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Field of view makes a huge difference in visual recoil. It's not going to change the recoil of a gun, but in visual recoil, it makes a gigantic difference. Now, another thing is when you're actually shooting guns, you got to know the recoil pattern of the gun that you're shooting. So I'm gonna go to this wall here, for example, because it's pretty light. I can show you guys. I'm not gonna touch the joystick whatsoever, the right joystick. I'm just gonna shoot and let the gun do its thing. Shoot it all the way up, and as you guys can see, it shoots up, it shoots pretty straight, and then it starts curving towards the right. So when you're shooting your actual gun in a gunfight, a lot of us, we play with these guns over and over again. So what happens is we just kind of know how to control it. So I'll just hold it down, and then once it starts going right, I'll hold it down towards the left. And as you guys can see there, I went a little too far to the left, but I left it pretty steady. All those shots were pretty steady right there, and these ones right here were not steady, whatever. You just got to know the recoil pattern of every single gun that you're using, and it's going to help you out tremendously as well. Now, there's a few other things you could do in the settings to help you guys with recoil control. So we're going to go into the controller settings, and the first one I want to talk about is pretty much your dead zones. Okay, I always talk about it, but it's pretty important. You want to have that right stick max all the way to 100. Now, I also use Control Freaks, which, by the way, if you guys use code iDoNick12, you can save yourself 12% on Control Freaks, which is really nice. And that actually brings this up higher. You can't actually set it higher than 100 in game, but on your Control Freaks, it'll bring it up pretty dang high as well, probably like around 150. And the reason for that is because the joysticks, you get extenders. That's what Control Freaks do. They extend your controller, and you pretty much get more movement. You get to control more. Every little micro movement you do is something you can control in the game. So you don't have to use Control Freaks, but I recommend always having the right stick up to 100. Now, the left stick, a lot of people say play on 50-40 or 540, I should say, or 0-40 even. And I gotta say, this is all preference, all right? Left stick is all about movement. It has nothing to do with your aim. So this is all preference. However, this right here, I would recommend if you could put it down to 0, go ahead and do so. If you have some stick drift, try to set it to like where you don't see that stick drift anymore. Mine is at 5, and then my right, I have it set all the way up to 100. Then we go into the aiming here, and this is where it gets even more important. So you got your horizontal and your vertical recoil. I don't care, play at 20/20 if you want. You guys play whatever you want on this right here, but your ADS sensitivity multiplier, this is what I recommend you go ahead and change. And if you don't want to change this one, you want to do it per zoom, you guys could actually go ahead, turn this on, and do it per zoom as well. So the reason I'm playing on 1 right now, and I always recommend playing lower than 1, but the reason I'm playing on 1 is because I'm using guns that are made for longer ranges. I'm using sights that are a little larger and stuff, especially when I'm playing Warzone and whatnot. So 1 is pretty good for that. But if you're playing multiplayer small maps, that's where you're going to want to set this like 0.90, 0.85, and you're going to be a lot more accurate. Everything is just going to feel like you're sticking, you're gluing onto the enemy, and it's just going to be a lot better for you guys. Now, another thing that I want you guys to do I said just get into a game like this in a private match where I'm at right now, stand somewhere where you could aim at multiple different areas. So right here, for example, we got a window up there, which is open, but you can't actually get in there. I wish you could, but we're going to use that as an example. We're just going to go ahead, aim as fast as we can to this window, take a few shots, and then find another window. So that one's open right there. Take a few shots, come back, shoot at it, come back, shoot at it. As you guys can see, I'm a little rusty, so I'm missing my shots. And then once you're able to actually shoot here and play really nicely and just hit all your shots, you're going to see that that's the right sensitivity for you, not the ADS sensitivity, but your actual sensitivity. And you just got to practice your snap on. So aim out, aim in, aim out, aim in. Keep going like that over and over again, and just practice your snap aiming. And that's going to help you guys tremendously in the gunfight, because what happens is if you get into a gunfight, let's say on multiplayer, and let's say there's a dude standing in this door and a dude standing right here, well, you want to like kind of get a little bit of head glitch, shoot this guy, but then you want to be able to snap onto that guy right away as well for a chance to survive. Chances of you surviving someone shooting you here and here is pretty slim, but if you play it smart, you could go prone and then you could just snap up and start shooting him like that. And you just got to think of stuff like that. You got to practice your snap aiming. And then another thing you want to do is just go into a bot match, put on a bunch of bots, recruit bots. It doesn't matter. The lowest amount of bot you can put on, the easiest bots, set it to headshots only. And I say this all the time, go into a private match, set it to headshots only, turn off your aim assist, and just go wild on the bots. Right, put it to maximum health as well. This is going to force you to actually aim for the head. It's going to force you to hit those headshots, and because the health is going to be a lot higher, it's going to take a lot more bullets to actually kill them. So you're going to have to stick and shoot them without aim assist on the head, and that is actually going to help you guys out a lot. You do that for a month, get 300 kills a day just doing that for a month, and you're going to have insane accuracy. You're going to see about that right there. Now, another thing for recoil control. So we spoke about controlling the aim by holding down and all that kind of stuff, realizing the recoil pattern of every single weapon and stuff. And then we also spoke about field of view and whatnot, but there's other things that you guys should be doing as well to control that recoil, and that is actually in your class setup. A lot of people try to build the fastest class ever. They want to put sprint to fire, they want to put ADS, they just try to be as fast as possible, but that's kind of wrong at the same time. If you're really fast, if your ADS and sprint to fire is really fast, but your gun has a lot of recoil, you're not going to do good in terms of actually winning those gunfights. Yeah, you might aim first at the enemy, but if he's hitting all his shots and you're missing your shots, it doesn't really matter. So what I recommend is making a balanced class setup, and you don't have to make some of the class setups that I make, but what I mean by balanced is my static class right here is pretty overall balanced. So for example, the barrel, on barrels, I always recommend that recoil control is what you should focus on, not ADS or anything like that. So this barrel, it's nice, it's great for close range, but if you're going to use it for mid range, I recommend the rover right here because it's just a lot better in that regard. And then for the underbarrel, I also recommend you might want to put some movement speed stuff on, but you also want that vertical, horizontal gun kick control, recoil control, everything you could get on the underbarrel as well is going to help you guys out nicely. Now the DR6 hand stop is a great option as well if you do not want recoil control on your underbarrel, if you already have enough recoil control. But on a gun like this is what I would stick with because it gives you recoil control, and these two are really important for recoil control. Muzzle as well, I would argue, but these two are really important. And then the stock as well, you could focus on recoil control like I did for this class because this gun has a lot of recoil to begin with. But if it didn't have a lot of recoil, I actually use this one too, I'll be honest with you guys. Depends on the class setup I'm using, but I also use this. But this is where I would recommend the stock. You got to realize if you're using a gun that's already fast, it doesn't need to be faster. That's where I would focus on recoil control. But if you want your gun to be faster, the recoil is already super easy to control. That's where you'll go into the stock and put that on. And then the rear grip, this is also something that on this class is a bad idea to show you guys this because I normally recommend ADS and sprint to fire on the rear grip, but this gun's already so small, it's already so fast, it doesn't really matter. But if you go into this class right here, as you guys can see, I want this class to be all about range, all about recoil control, and that's where I focus my underbarrel on ADS and sprint to fire speed, but everything else is going to be bullet velocity and range. This one right here is going to give you vertical recoil control, shortens radar pings, we got 50 round mags, and then we got the jack glassless, and then we don't need to focus on ADS or sprint to fire or more recoil because the recoil control is already super easy to control, and this gun's built for mid range and long range. Now that's another thing that you guys got to do is get into those class setups and actually make a class around recoil control, around ADS. Don't just focus on one thing. Don't just focus on ADS speed and sprint to fire speed and all that kind of stuff. It's not worth it. It doesn't work out much anyways. Now another thing you guys could do, the last thing I want to say, is use marksman gloves. I prefer assault gloves because I like to be more accurate when jump shotting. I jump shot a lot and I want my ADS to be faster, so that's why I use assault gloves. But you could use marksman gloves as well, and this reduces the sway and flinch while you're in ADS. So when you're in ADS, before you shoot your gun, the sway is not going to be too strong. The gun's going to be a lot more stable, which is going to help you hit those first initial shots. But your flinch while ADS, it actually reduces that as well. So when you're getting shot at and you're aiming down sights, you're not going to flinch as hard. So your shots will be hitting a lot more. That's another thing that a lot of people don't think of is flinch. So you got to work on placement as well in maps. And that's why I always recommend head glitching, because if you're head glitching, you're a harder target to hit. You're going to flinch less because the enemies are going to be missing more shots on you. So always stand behind an object. Who cares? People call me a camper all the time in my comments. I'm getting the kill streaks. I'm on top of the lobby. I'm playing right. And that's what you got to focus on. Who cares what people call you? But that's going to be it for the video, man. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are interested with this already turned on. And let me know down in the comments below, is recoil control really hard for you guys, or is it something that you don't struggle with at all? Let me know. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Nick, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.